This is a publication of Freegold Capital. Hi everyone, today we are talking to Koenraad Verheyden, a private gold investor for more than 40 years. He has been writing and posting on the internet about gold and free gold in particular. That free gold part got me curious, so it's a real pleasure to talk to someone who appears to have been there from the beginning of free gold. But before we start talking free gold, let's go back to the moment you started. That's more than 40 years ago. That must have been straight at the end of the Bretton Woods system. And what triggered your interest in gold back then?
Exactly. It was the turbulent 70s where we had the oil crisis and the closing of the gold window by President Nixon, and the debt crisis started escalating at that particular moment up until now. And that was the main reason why gold got my attention and started to study it and to trading it, to buying it, holding it, and accumulating it.
Okay, which might not be that obvious to people like me who have not been in that time frame. Can you describe that time to the audience? Has it been turbulent in a political sense, from a monetary perspective? Can you describe that to the audience?
It was a very, very, very turbulent period on all aspects of life, politically, socially, economically, and financially. The dollar, the almighty world dollar, came under pressure simply because Nixon closed the gold window and dollar was not redeemable in gold anymore. So all those who had been accumulating dollar surpluses as a reserve, they had no right to redeem their dollars for gold. And that was a unilateral decision taken by the dollar regime.
It was like a shockwave going through the financial and monetary system.
Exactly.
Right, which is actually quite hard to understand for like people like me. We have simply seen and grown up in a very stable time with almost no inflation or no visible inflation, not so much political turbulence. So it was quite a different time back then. Let's move to the current day, because we just moved from a liquidity crisis back in 2007, 2008 into a full-blown sovereign debt crisis. How would you describe the economic situation we are in right now?
Well, I can synthesize it in four words. It is a debt-driven political economy. So the main driver of this economy is debt. No economy without an escalating debt upon debt. And the economy is also politically driven. This is not a free market as we all imagine what a free market exactly is. It are politics, and debt is politics. Economics are politics, and politics are economics.
Right. So the usual phrase that we have a free market and the free market is failing is, well, not something you would agree with.
There has never been a free market. Doesn't exist such a thing as a free market. All markets are governed and politically governed.
Right. And I think that is quite right. And even on a moderate level, there has been market manipulation from basically the beginning of the marketplaces anyway. And how is the current situation different than back when you started as a gold investor 40 years ago?
In my opinion, it escalated from bad to worse. More politics, more debt, simply because it is a systemic affair. And it is not a cyclic or an up or down matter, but systemic affair. So today we see the result of 40, 50, 60 years, almost 7 decades of mismanagement, more and more political economy, less free market, and further and further away from meritocracy principle. And that is also having an effect on our social life. People lose direction. Debt, the debt orgy is completely starting to control the Western Hemisphere, and we see the results today.
Right. You bring up a particular word, meritocracy, and especially related to debt, because I think what you are saying is that debt is basically distorting the economic behavior and the economic function of our society. Can you elaborate a little bit on meritocracy, how that is impacted?
Yes. There is nothing wrong, in fact, with debt, as long as it is productive debt. But if unproductive debt starts to dominate the whole economy in the Western Hemisphere, we see that meritocracy is going down. Just think about subsidies, about particular groups who can exploit the unproductive debt formation for their own profits. The financial industry that grows so big, so enormously astronomical big, that it is completely dominating the physical economy in the entire world. And normally it should be vice versa. You have a healthy economy, a physical economy, and you have a serving financial industry. So basically we have an upside down world.
Right.
And, yes.
Okay, because you mentioned a good debt, that also implies there is bad debt. If I were to describe good debt, then I'm thinking about, for instance, when we had the colonization of the United States, you could provide loans to the new colony. And with that money, the people over there were building farms and making themselves productive, creating goods, selling them abroad, and actually paying off their debt and, well, starting to generate a revenue. I think that is the definition of good debt.
Exactly.
Then we are basically being run today by bad debt. Okay, so and if I were to give an example, then I'm thinking about the average person taking on a loan to pay off a holiday. And that is, of course, a complete waste of money, because you are not producing anything with that debt or with that loan. You are simply destroying the value of it.
Yes, yes. And since debt is money, and money is debt, and when unproductive debt is bad, so you have fake money.
Right. So I begin to see the mismatch between our debt-driven world, which is our money, and the real economy.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on, because most people unfamiliar with gold investing would describe hardcore gold investors as gold bugs. People who advocate hard money and who like to return to a gold standard. But you are not one of those people who like to return to a gold standard, but want to return to something else called free gold. Can you describe that to our listeners?
Yes, the old gold standard was a fixed price, gold price standard, with emphasis on a fixed price. Today, $42 an ounce. Now, that fixed dollar gold price standard failed totally. That's why Nixon had to close the gold window, because there was too much mismanagement in the financial monetary affairs that dollar debt became so astronomical that no dollars were redeemable in physical gold anymore. So America just had to stop exchanging dollars for physical gold.